Happy Star Wars Day, everyone!
Oh yeah, tomorrow.
Well, technically, if you're listening to this, it is
Today.
Star Wars Day. Hey everyone, welcome back to another rogue-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And we are back with Rogue One special features, behind the scenes, all that jazz. And if you're listening to this not on the Twitch live stream, happy Star Wars Day, because it's May 4th when this is being posted. So may the 4th be with you. All that jazz.
All that fun stuff. Hopefully
Yep.
you watched at least one Star Wars movie today. I know I will try.
I don't think I'll be able to, dude.
Why?
I don't know. I gotta watch the finale of Moon Knight. I gotta
Oh gosh.
edit the podcast that you're listening to right now, upload everything,
Mm-hmm.
go to the grocery store, and then I got stuff at night. So
You can squeeze it in Rogue One.
I should. I what looking more at these special features and these characters. I was like, I gotta watch Rogue One soon.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna watch Rogue One and A New Hope tomorrow. I think that's my goal. We'll see though. I need to organize this room. That's like on my to-do list because it's you guys for your view. You guys, oh, it looks really nice. You don't need to do anything, but I literally can't walk in here because there's toys. I'm surrounded.
Is that why you were late today? Because it takes you longer to get to your seat.
No, my kid is not having such a fun night.
Is he still sick?
No, he's not sick. He's just.
Oh.
It's normally his bedtime's at 7, but the sun's up now, like blasting in our room at 7, and we don't have. We need to buy night curtains, pretty much, because it's really annoying. Because he's tired, but then if we're not holding him, then he wants to wake up, and we're like, bro, you can't just sleep. It's annoying.
All right, well,
but
little Miles, yeah.
He's being a stubborn boy.
Yep. All right. So anyway, last week we did a lot of the special features that focused on the kind of the production of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But we decided to split the special features up. So this last week was that, but this week we are doing the characters specifically. They had character breakdowns and kind of behind the scenes for them and interviews with
like character develops and stuff like that.
Yeah, and stuff. And then we're also doing. We could have done it last week, but we decided to do it this week. The U-Wing special feature too, just because it's kind of like a character.
Yeah, it's a character in the sense of how long it took him to do it.
Right. So we might as well just jump right into this. Some of them had a lot more to talk about than others. Like one person, I had one bullet point that I wrote, and then I'm like, there's nothing else significant to say. But
yeah.
So and so they kind of did it weird, where it's kind of like some of them were individual, but others were kind of
like two characters,
like
in
a pair
that
kind of like related to each other in their storyline. Mm-hmm. So the first one is Baze and Turret, which makes sense why they were put together. And there are some interesting things in this breakdown, but for those you don't know, the actors Donnie Yen and is it Jiang Wen? I don't know how to pronounce my Chinese names. So Jiang Wen. So those were the actors, and I knew Donnie Yen was a huge actor in China,
or in America even. He has
like the
popular movies, like the One series,
the Ip Man movies,
or Ip Man.
And so there's that. But I didn't recognize ever before the Jiang Wen. So he's apparently a huge star too in China. So
Yeah, I like up until this movie, I haven't really heard of him, but he has been in a lot of films that are very popular over in uh just actually the Asian community in general, not just China. Like he's
right.
pretty big in Korea and probably Japan as well, I would
Yeah.
assume.
So I knew when before Rogue One came out, like I never knew of Donnie Yen,
Hmm.
and so like when
Oh,
he
you
was,
didn't?
I didn't know about him
Oh.
like when he was announced, like who he was, like the character. But
Mm.
like so then I heard all the hype about like how this is cool he's in there, and then like that's when I learned about the Ip Man movies,
Did you
and
watch those?
the first three Ip Man movies were on Netflix
Mm-hmm.
the fall before Rogue One came out. So I watched those three movies before I saw Rogue One, just so I could be familiar with the actor Donnie Yen.
Did
So
you like them?
yeah, I liked them.
They have like a little. They have like a John Wick feel, kind of to
And
them.
there was a fourth one too that came out like last year or 2 years
Yes,
ago or
2
something.
years ago.
And I like that one too. So if you haven't seen the Ip Man movies, you should watch them.
Yeah, they're fun. They're like a fun, like mindless kind of fighting movie.
It's not
Like
mindless. It's story based. It's really good. It's not just like
no, no, no. But like, I'm saying like if you wanted to sit and relax and watch like a really good action movie, that's what I mean by mindless. Like, it's not like you're watching like it's not like I'm trying to think.
thriller.
Yeah, or even like the new Batman. Like, there's a lot of like plot points and you have to pay attention like the entire time. It's not really like that. It's more of like you can just relax and you'll get it.
But you gotta read subtitles, so it's stressful sometimes.
Well, for some more than others. Daddy Palps is in the chat and he said,
Ooh,
What's up, my local friends?
what's
What's
up, Daddy Pelps?
or Dark Daddy, we should say.
Darth Daddy. He does get referenced in some of the
Mm.
voicemails tonight, so his stamp is.
Also, does it end tonight? We didn't really mention
Well,
that.
I'm gonna tell you. I told you before. I
Oh,
didn't know what
okay.
the issue was,
Well,
but
I know, but
we'll get into that.
we'll get
But
there.
anyway, um, when Donnie Yen like told his kids
Mm-hmm.
that he got the part, like the kids were super excited because they're bigger Star Wars fans than he was at the time. Seemed like,
Yeah.
and then he's like, when I said that, my kids finally thought I was cool. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then kind of the same with Jing Wen. Like his kids were super excited. And what was interesting was he got the script in English, and obviously English is his second language, and he had a hard time reading it. So like going over the script for the first time, he got to go over it with his sons who could read. They're fluent
Yep.
in English,
Yep.
and so then like they had that experience of like learning their father's part along with their father at the same time and kind of like reading that script. So that was pretty cool. And so that's just a cool thing to do with like your kids, like go over a Star Wars script that you got cast in together, like for
Well,
the
it's
first time.
interesting that he got cast and he couldn't read English that well.
I don't know.
Like, it's cool, but he speaks English pretty well though.
Right.
I guess he could probably speak it and understand it easier than he can write it, which
Right.
makes sense. But it was just interesting. Like, I didn't know. I like I said earlier, I didn't know really much about him as an actor besides this movie. So when he said that, I was like, oh, geez. Also, dang, I should probably try to find some of his stuff because it seems like he's very popular
Like, I wonder if he
over
was
there.
did martial arts stuff like Danny Yen, or if he was just kind of like an
I
action
think,
star
I think yeah, he's just
slash.
like an action star. I don't think he's like that.
Because they did
Cause,
say that they have worked together in previous films
mm-hmm.
before. So if Danny Yen's in it, then that means it's probably an action film. So the other guy probably did some action stuff, but um, and so but there's kind of interesting. So obviously, like Danny Yen's character Chirrut, he's faithful to the belief in the Force, even though I don't think he's technically Force sensitive, but like he's very definitely believes in the Force and wants to use the Force to the best of his ability. That even though he's not really Force sensitive, whereas
We don't really know the answer to that.
whereas Baze was like Turret, but then he lost the faith in a sense. But what was interesting that they said was when they were learning more about their parts and kind of like George Lucas's original vision for what the Force was. Like I can't remember exactly how they worded it, but it was like the original terminology was the force of others, and so you connected with the Force by connecting with other people and building relationships with other people, and so it was. I thought that was interesting. That's kind of like one of the original concepts for the Force was the more you're connected with other people, the stronger your sensitivity is to the Force, and so um, like and because at this point, like in a sense, the Force has been forgotten in the timeline of Star Wars with the Empire getting rid of the Jedi and all that stuff and silencing the ideas of the Force. Like this movie is about connecting with other people, and so at the end of the story where Chirrut and Baze die, Baze reconnects with the Force and kind of like does the "I'm one with the Force is with me," and he says that with Chirrut as they die, and it's kind of like their connection is what caused Baze to see the Force again, or believe in the Force again. So I thought that was very interesting. Like,
well, I like that. The thing that I took away a lot from this as well is that Donnie Ying's character wasn't blind originally.
right, that was his idea.
That was what he came up with to develop his character to create a bigger bond between both characters, essentially.
Right.
Because the point of these two characters is that they are supposed to be really connected and they work together and stuff like that. And his vision was like, well, how can I make it so that we rely on each other even a deeper way? And
Right.
it was, and his idea was to, so like, it shows you how well of like a story writer Donnie Yen is actually as well. Like he was able to think about that in depthly to the point where he was like, "Why don't I be blind? Because then I know that I would have, as a character and an actor, I would have to rely on him more,
Right.
and it'd be easier for me to act out that reliance, like
Right.
that bonding." And I thought that was really cool and really well thought out for an actor to get a role and change it. And that's a big part. Like that's his character. Like if he wasn't blind, it would be completely different feel, I feel like.
Right. Right.
So I thought that was really cool.
Dude, if they got to have a spin-off show together.
Dude,
That would be so
right?
cool. Like on Jeddah just doing stuff like
just busting caps and stuff.
It'd be cool to see kind of like a story that takes place like throughout the reign of the Empire, like when they both believed in the Force, and then like Baze losing faith and like what they were doing, and
I want to see that live action, but even if we did get like a cartoon of that, that would be cool too.
yeah, that'd be cool. Like I don't know,
But
because like
live action would be dope,
right? Because like we've gotten like shows like The Bad Batch and mostly well kind of the Mandalorian, but not, and then Boba Fett, like how the Force is not the main focus of the story.
Yeah,
Force users are not the main focus, and so
I was gonna say kind of Mandalorian. It's
kind of, but like it's there, but it's not really important in a sense. But my point is like seeing a story where like they believe in the Force, but then they lose the belief in the Force, like or the one character does. Like seeing that where it's the kind of like the effects of the Empire, like that's kind of like a what's the word, microcosm, is that the word? Where it's like their relationship symbolizes what's going on in the galaxy, where a lot of people have lost the faith, and then but there's some that have continued the faith in the Force. And it's kind of like that story. Like I think that'd be a cool spin-off. So Disney, Lucasfilm, if you're listening, make it happen.
Yep.
If you need me to write it, we can do that, or we can have Lucy write it for you. Like I'm sure she would definitely take the gig.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool. All right, so that was Baze and Turret. Next up was Bodhi and Saw, and this one's a little interesting. Like they definitely seem to put more focus on Saw than Bodhi in this one. But
Yeah.
um, so I thought it was cool how uh, the actor for Bodhi, Riz something,
Mm-hmm.
Riz whatever, like he got the job. He got
Yeah.
cast as the job, but like he kept filming himself doing versions of his character and sending
Yeah.
it to Gareth Edwards, like different ways of how he could talk or enunciate and personas and stuff. And he was just like doing a million different things, and was like spamming Gareth like with
Yeah,
different
he
ways.
like sent him a bunch of interviews or like not interviews, like auditions essentially.
Kind of, yeah, like that, yeah.
And I got to the point to the director, and the director's like,
Dude, you got the
dude,
job.
you have the point, you have the job. And he's like, well, I just don't know what, do you want me to do this and stuff like that. And like it's cool because it does show like how much he was dedicated to that role, and he wanted to make sure it was really well done and like perfect to what the director wanted. But I think at the point the director's like, bro, you're like stressing me out at this point, like we'll figure it out when you get here, kind of situation. So
But like I feel
yeah.
like that's what a lot of actors do when they get cast for like a big role, like in Star Wars or something. Like they don't film themselves, but they're definitely doing the same thing where they're trying to like make nuances and stuff. Because that's a sign of a good actor when like or actress when you try to find all the nuanced ways
Yeah.
that a character talks or acts. Because a lot of times they just kind of like show up on set and like yeah they have their character, but like it's not. It's kind of like a generic character in a sense, where there's not a lot of
Mm-hmm.
like you'll see that like in movie reviews, like oh this character was flat, like the performance was flat, it wasn't like amazing, but like all those they get cast as for like best actor, best actress at the Oscars, like it's always crazy characters with like these really nuanced like you know mannerisms and
Yeah.
whatnot like that always like adds to the performance and the character and all that jazz. So
Yep.
I thought that was cool that he did that, even though I would have gotten annoyed. But what was interesting, which this is weird that like movies productions do this, but like his first scene that they filmed was his last scene in the movie where he died. Like,
Yeah, I'm trying to. I thought there was something else that they kind of did that too. Like,
well,
there's
anytime you
another
do behind the scenes in movies, like it's always they film things like in random
order. Yeah,
orders.
it's like whatever they have, like set they have first. But
Like,
there was
yeah,
something. I think there's some movie that or like review that we're just talking about, and they did it backwards too. Like their first scene on set was like not their death, but the end of the show, and then like they didn't even develop that character, and it's just like it is kind of weird that they do it like that sometimes, but like I said, like it really depends on
yeah, because like
your set and like
your character is gonna change as you're learning how to do the role. So
correct.
like your last scene, it could be the feel could be different than other parts of the movie. Like if you didn't and you don't even
Well, and
realize it.
also if you know right away that your character dies, like yeah, it was written on the script, right?
Right.
But your first role and your first feel of this character is his death. I feel like your perspective of your character throughout the rest of the show is not gonna could not be as in like as good because he's already dead in your mind. I don't know. I feel like if I was an actor, that would mess me up. But because I mean, we do know that like sometimes they do have like an ending or a death to a character, and throughout the filming process, they decide to rewrite it because they like their performance and they don't want him to actually die off.
Right.
Like that does happen, but I wonder that doesn't really happen. I guess if you start off with their death and then work your way backwards, like
Then you
they're
kind of
like,
have to.
we already killed you, so there's no hope for you." Like,
But
granted,
yeah,
this movie everyone died, so it doesn't matter. But still,
well, until we see bodies, it's not confirmed.
true. Well, we didn't see a body there either because he got blown up.
Yeah, so he might be alive. Saw might be alive. Cassian and Jyn.
Saw is definitely not alive, bro. We watched the thing cover his body.
Mountain falls on top of him, basically.
And then he's like, I can still breathe under here. Let me crawl my way out with one leg.
Wouldn't that suck if, like, this is my time, I'm going to die. A building collapses on you.
He's like, darn it.
And he's still alive, but he has his breathing thing. Like, oh, I might as well just breathe. That would be terrible. You're, like, stuck under there for 3 days, just breathing all your mask.
Yeah, before you run out of food and water.
Yeah. But what I really liked was Forrest Whitaker talking about Saw, because it seemed like, well, one, Forrest Whitaker, he's an OG. He's been around forever in movies, and I could just tell, like, he was very wise and smart about his understanding of the character.
Well, and he watched the Clone Wars adaptation of that character too.
Oh, yeah. I wonder if that's the only thing he watched, or if he watched, like, the whole series or something. But it seemed like he was very.
I think that was probably the only thing he watched.
But, like, he talked about, like, how, I don't know, just the way he talked about Star Wars seemed like he had a developed understanding of the story, whereas other people in the movie, like, they were just kind of like fans, but they weren't like super fans.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is he knew about the episode that's after this, like, you know what I mean, like New Hope.
Oh, well, yeah.
And then the Clone War episodes with that character probably, like, it gave him a feel in, like, the voice of the character and how, like, stern he was and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it was interesting how they said he has different ways of fighting because he was trained by Anakin, Ahsoka, and Kenobi in the Clone Wars on how to fight in a kind of like I don't know how to fight in a moral way in a sense, but like the way of the Jedi and kind of like a good way of fighting. But then he's also ends up being turning bad, where it's like guerrilla warfare, and like we see him turn in the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
When things happen and he gets kind of like whatever, but then obviously, like, it's been something that everyone's talked about how, like, he's breathing through like a mask in a sense, like Vader, and how he was trained by Anakin, and they were in both perfect health, and then they both end up, because of their evil ways in a sense, ended up in a suit when they were more machine than man, and they had to breathe with assistance. And so it's just interesting that he paralleled the effects of going evil with Anakin.
Vader.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Like, we've always talked about how he kind of like was similar to Vader, but hearing them talk about how, like, turning evil along with Anakin when they were both good at one point, which is interesting.
For sure.
So that's Bodhi and Saw. And then next one, Cassian. This is the one I mentioned earlier where I only had like one thing because I was like, I don't know. Of all the new characters that we got in Rogue One, Cassian was the one like I care least about, even though he was like,
he's the one that's getting his own spinoff show.
Yeah, but because
2 seasons.
Because like his character is weird. Because like he's supposed to be a rebel, like the good side, but then we see him kill that guy in that town or like the back alley or whatever, and like I don't know, his story is just weird to me because like it's very like all over the place, and so I don't really have a connection with him. Now we're gonna see more of his story.
I think you will.
Show.
You're about to.
We're about to, and I think I'm gonna end up liking the character more. But the one thing that I wrote down was that his character represents there's no need to have superpowers to be a hero in a sense. Like they said that, and I was like, that's interesting. Like that's kind of like what, like, everyone's faith was in the Jedi who had superpowers in a sense. But now that the time of the Jedi is gone, people have to rely on regular people who didn't have superpowers, and kind of like he kind of embodied that idea where he's just a regular person, because his famous line, "I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old." Like, he's just a regular person trying to survive and do the best he can to fight for good or whatever, even though he makes bad decisions sometimes. Mm-hmm. He's just a regular guy, no superpowers, trying to fight for good, which is an interesting point because that's all the characters in this group. Like, they didn't need a Jedi. They didn't need superpowers to bring hope to the galaxy.
Well, because I mean, the biggest thing is when you know what you need as a person or whatever, like you don't need. They have life situations that the Empire pushed against their families and stuff like that push them towards the rebels, and like developing that. So it makes sense, like why, like they were so stern, especially, I mean, the main girl. I mean, her dad literally got kidnapped essentially from the Empire, and she didn't have a choice, and they killed her mom. And I totally so I started watching it this afternoon after I watched these scenes, and I totally forgot that what's his name killed her mom first.
Right.
Like it wasn't even she maybe she wasn't gonna shoot him in the arm, but like who knows, because she got killed right away. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. If someone's like, "Hey, I need you to come work for me," and I said no, and they're like, "All right, you have to, and here's a gun," and I said no, and then my wife goes and points a gun at him, and they kill my wife, I'd probably just figure out how to for them to kill me too. Like, like I don't know. Like,
well, yeah, but you also have your kid that's in hiding too, so you can't just.
Yeah, but it's not like he even sees her again ever. So it's like, what's the point?
Yeah, but you forget that he says in his hologram that or he says it in person, like at the beginning, but then also I think in the hologram where it says everything I do for you. And so the only reason he chose to survive was to protect
saying,
her.
Like, I understand. I'm not saying I don't understand. I get it. I'm just saying, if that was me, I don't know if I could do that. That's what I'm saying.
You just leave Miles to be on his own. Oh, sorry, I can't do this.
He already left him to be on his own. That's not the reason. Like, there was already a backup plan for Miles. Like,
yeah, leave him with Saw Gerrera.
I mean, that was his backup plan.
Who's Saw Gerrera in your life, if you could name someone? You don't have fun.
You?
Me?
I don't know.
I can't take care of it. I don't know how to take care of it. You got.
Sog didn't either. That's why you messed up.
Yeah, I have all kinds of family that you and Stephanie's
but I'm trying to think of someone who's like single, who's, I don't know.
Not me. You don't want me. Don't.
I mean, yeah, I would definitely leave Stephanie or Miles with like a family member.
Don't in your will, like if you and Stephanie go, like
don't
leave
worry.
Miles
You're
with
not
me.
you're not the Godfather, Jeremiah. Chill.
I'm not doing that. Sorry, Miles. You'll be listening to this in like 20 years.
And you're like, what? Adult. Jeremiah didn't want to be my Godfather.
Uncle Jeremiah.
Like,
is that what he's gonna call me, Uncle Jeremiah?
Yeah, Uncle. He'll just call you Uncle. Uncle Jeremiah, if anything.
Oh no, I'm definitely not gonna take care of that kid. Jeremiah.
He calls you Jeremiah. It's an old go. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, if Miles had a backup plan, the backup plan's on its way. My wife got murdered in cold blood, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'll build this Death Star too. Like, no, I'll probably just tackle them and kill them, and then
get killed by the Death Troopers.
Let them kill me, yeah. Because the thing is, would they have killed him if he killed what's his name? I don't think so. They would still just kidnap him.
Probably.
Because his mind is more important than the person's mind that went to go get him.
That is true.
Because clearly
to get him, so
he couldn't do it himself, and he had to go get him.
Right.
But
right.
I don't. I was just thinking about that. I was like, I would not go help these people. Because like I understand if she shot him first and then the Death Super shot her, like that would make more sense. Like, yeah, girl, you did that. But it wasn't that. It was like he's like, all right, now, and then.
See, here's the thing. That whole scene, it could have been avoided, like the death of the mom and all stuff. If they just sat down and had a cup of coffee or tea, and it would have been way better. Like they could just talk things out, hash things out. Came up with a contract, and all they had to do was just get a cup of Wesley Andrews coffee or tea, which happens to be our sponsor for tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we might as well just listen to a little word from our boy Andrew, and let's see how you can get some Wesley Andrews coffee and tea for yourself.
Get some.
Hey everyone, Andrew here. I'm pleased to tell you that the sponsor of today's episode is Wesley Andrews Coffee and Tea. If you don't know anything about Wesley Andrews, you definitely should. They're an award-winning coffee roaster and shop in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they make fantastic coffee. The awesome thing is that whether you live in the Twin Cities or not, you can get their coffee beans delivered straight to your door by ordering them online. They even have a subscription service that ensures you never run out of amazing coffee. If you've been looking for some new coffee to try or a way to elevate your normal coffee routine, now's your chance. Head over to wesleyandrews.cc, use the code EMPIRERADIO, that's with a capital E and a capital R with no space at checkout, to get 15% off your first purchase of any bags of coffee or a coffee subscription. I can't think of a better deal. Get 15% off some great coffee, support a small business, and support your favorite Star Wars podcast. In the words of Emperor Palpatine, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Dude, so this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it took him 2 panels and someone to ask him to say the words "do it" this weekend.
Oh, do you want to tell your story?
Which one?
About him?
It's it's gonna be one of the vlogs.
Oh, okay. Then okay.
But I mean he may or may not be on screen soon.
I heard there might be a rumor, which is not surprising.
It's not really. He pretty much told us that he was gonna be in the Kenobi show.
Right. But since we could talk about this later in the socials, but watch out on YouTube for vlogs from when Drew, Andrew, and Tanner went to ICCCCCCon, however many C's. And so
3, not 4.
How many different vlog videos are going to be?
So the one that the road to ICCCCon, that episode should be up either tomorrow or the next day. I'm thinking it might be Thursday because I don't want to take away from the podcast drop. And then episode 1, so day 1 at ICC should be hopefully, I'm hoping for this weekend, but it might be a Monday drop. But
then Andrew is doing his own vlog post.
He just filmed, and I'm just adding them in.
Oh, okay. So you got all his stuff.
I'm letting you guys know right now that they're gonna be like an hour plus episodes. So
that's fine.
So buckle in. It's gonna be a fun one. They're all gonna be really fun, and like it's all vlog style, obviously. Like, and then also there should be a full like 30-minute panel from Anthony Daniels. That one should drop actually probably before.
Oh, you just recorded the whole thing?
No, I record 30 minutes of it before I left because I went to go to the podcast room for Rebel Force Radio. I went to go watch some of their episodes.
Which they know about us now.
Yeah, they talk to us.
We got to see if we can
collab or something.
But like we need to be. They need to interview us so that their audience be like, we're old. We can't keep up with the times anymore.
Yeah.
Stop listening to us and start listening to Rebel Force. They're the young bucks. They can.
Yeah, the one. Yeah.
We just need to get us. They just need to mention us on their show, and we'll be golden.
I wonder
we'll
if they have.
So far,
like they knew about us, and they're like, "Oh, it's you guys."
Beforehand.
Yeah, before we went live. Okay, so this is. And if you guys are listening from Rebel Force Radio, first of all, shout out to you guys. We actually do love you, and it was really cool. But we were like going to like literally, he was like doing the countdown live, and he started talking to Andrew. He's like, "Oh, it's you guys." Oh, and he just started talking to Andrew as like the guy's like doing a 5-second countdown. I'm like, bro, you trying to interrupt our like live show? Like, what are you doing here? So like they literally like. Also, our time got switched like 4 times this weekend. And I don't want to say anything, but I feel like they may or may not have.
What? It's not you and your conspiracy theories.
Our time. No, I don't know.
You and your conspiracy theories.
It kept messing. It was like we were before them or we were after them. We were before them or after them, and it kept messing. Like, so we were on literally right after them. They had an hour. We had 15 minutes.
Well,
but it's okay. We loved it.
Someday we'll be in that hour spot.
I mean, honestly, if we had an hour, I would have been way too nervous for the first one. So
that was hard.
15 minutes was fine. It was fun. Yeah. And it was really cool that they even acknowledged us and they talked to us and stuff, and it was sweet. So shout out to you guys, and if you guys are listening to this, we love to collab or something like that.
We should just send them an email.
I don't think we should. I don't see why we wouldn't, but I'm just saying, if you are listening to this,
yes,
we should. We're the younger ones, okay? We're not threat. We're just young. You guys aren't the older ones. We would. You
have a lot of wisdom that we want to learn from you, and we'll pick up your mantle. When you guys
this will be in the video, but I actually might clip this as its own thing. But there is another podcast that we actually watched, or I watched like almost the whole podcast. But they were, it's on the back of the cereal box. Go check out that podcast. They're really cool. They go over like a bunch of different Marvel comic books, Star Wars. They do a lot of stuff. But there, he bumped into me in the, I think, in the Timothy's online afterwards, and we were talking, and he was like, "Yeah, I wanted to talk about Star Wars." Or about The Last Jedi and why he thought it was his favorite. That's his favorite movie. And I was like, oh, interesting. It's very rare. There's like one person I know that is their favorite movie, but I think it is because they know it bothers me. I don't actually think it's their real favorite movie.
Do I know who that is?
Yes, right? You know who it is.
There is someone in the Discord that's their favorite movie.
Oh. Well, anyways, so I was like, oh, and then later on, before we went live, I was like, he was in the room, and I was like, hey, I would love to actually get your whole opinion recorded, and you can shout out your stuff. And so he did a full like 5-minute breakdown on why The Last Jedi is his favorite.
Did he sway you in any way?
Honestly, a little bit.
Is it still your bottom movie, or did it move up?
100%. It didn't move, but it made me appreciate it a little bit more.
All right.
So I think I just did for the some of you listeners that is your favorite. I wanted to respect you guys, so that will be in the vlog, and I might even clip it to just
that'd be cool.
Let you guys see it a little bit. So
yeah. All right. Well, that was a little commercial for stuff from the ICCC con.
Yeah, and there may or may not be some Thrawn books with Ezra potentially in the works. He didn't really answer the question, but he said that he wants to do one.
Well, here's the thing.
He's waiting for. Well, he's pretty much waiting for Dave Filoni to.
Anyway, that's a whole other thing. Let's continue. Cool. All right. So next up from the Rogue One characters is K2SO, and so. It was interesting. So some of the special features from last week talked about the same stuff of him. So they kind of like double dipped a little bit, but this is more focused on him. And so there was 2 special features for specifically K2S. So one was more focused just on the design aspect, and then the other one was more about the character and the actor and whatnot. So I kind of just we can talk about them together. But from the start, the idea was that K2SO was going to be a Imperial protocol droid, which would be like the opposite of C3PO. So they just kind of like wanted like a black version of C3PO, both like a different design. And they kind of like one of the main things that they wanted to do visually was have what they refer to as negative space in the design, where meaning like you could definitely tell that a person wasn't in a suit.
Yeah, they didn't want like a Anthony Daniels thing where like it looks like someone's wearing it, or like
Right.
the droid from the Mandalorian, like you know that someone's in that suit.
Right.
They didn't want that. They wanted it to feel like it was a droid, 100%.
Yeah. So like with that, you have like the partial head / face, like where there's empty space, and like kind of like the abdomen area. You can see that it's a person can't
And
be
his
in it.
joints and his hands are stuff like it.
Right.
They're his arms are super scrawny for that reason.
And so and super like narrow legs too. But they definitely had like a million designs that they wanted to do. Some of them like were looking pretty cool. Like they could have went with that, but like some like one of them had like a mouth / chin feature that kind of looked like Vader's mask, and some kind of had more like more evil looking, like with their eyes and stuff like that.
Well, and the one had like a cone head, like it was super skinny in the face.
Right.
I thought that was ugly. I don't know. After seeing all the designs, I'm happy they figured out this one. I really like it. And the more I look at K2SO, he kind of looks like a skull, like his head.
Right.
Has like a really cool design. And I don't know if you guys know this, but K2SO is my favorite droid of all time. He's my favorite. I didn't realize that it was fully CGI character. I literally had no idea.
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh, interesting.
So
well,
they fooled me.
They had to make it, CGI because he was so much taller and bigger than everyone that like it'd been way too hard to like make a animatronic interact properly with the. Because if it's like a little droid, like it makes sense, like you can do whatever. But
yeah, well, yeah, I saw
something as tall as
R2 and BB-8s running around all
like,
weekend.
He's like, he was what, 14 inches taller than the voice actor for him, and that voice actor is pretty tall already. So K2SO was like over 7 feet probably.
Yeah, which
super tall.
My thing was like after they said that, I'm like, so is he taller than the door entrances on like the Death Star and stuff?
I don't know.
Because would that make any sense to have him that tall? If he was?
Well, what is he? So he's not a protocol droid technically because that's not what he is.
No,
I'm gonna look it up. But I think is he an enforcer droid? Maybe I think.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, it's definitely something like that because remember in Boba Fett, that episode when they're on Mandalore, they're the ones that were killing the people at the end. They were killing all the Mandalorians, going down and shooting them up. So they're definitely like military droids.
So they're not meant to be like in small quarters.
No, but they still are. They still would be.
So he's classified as a security droid.
Or security, okay.
So like he's not going to be in small hallways. He's going to be where he can
stand
and patrol and fight and stuff. So obviously he's a droid. They're made so they can move and like get small if they want, like crouch down. Like it's not like he has a back like me that can't handle bending over.
He doesn't have to sleep in a chair, that's for sure.
Yeah, he doesn't have to do that. But but what's interesting though, like they didn't want, obviously when you make anything for Star Wars, you want it to fit in the look of Star Wars. So which I thought was interesting was that they actually once again they went back to the Ralph McQuarrie concept drawings of droids to kind of like what exactly did Ralph McQuarrie design with droids, like all the different concepts he had for droids, and they borrowed from that to help influence their design for K2SO, which I thought was interesting. And something that is also interesting that I didn't realize, but when they sneak into the on Scarif and they see another K2SO droid, like they talked about how the Imperial droid has a certain walk, and how K2SO, the reprogrammed droid, has a different walk. Yeah. So like the Imperial droid is very like, for lack of a term, robotic, where it's just kind of like straight walk, very smooth, very like boom, boom, boom. Whereas K2SO, who has been reprogrammed, has more personality in the way he walks, which is just interesting because it's a droid, like it shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But like droids, they learn personality, they get personalities, and they learn, and that's why like R2D2 and Chopper are so effective at what they do, is because they don't have their mind wiped. They get to learn.
Yep.
And that's why they kind of learn to have a morality in a sense. Mm-hmm. I guess they're copying what their masters do in a sense. So they kind of learn their philosophies in a sense without realizing it. And so it's just the same with walking, where if you're in the Empire and you walk straight lines, the droids are going to walk straight lines because that's all they know. Yeah. But when they are around civilians, when they're part of a rebellion, they're going to walk different. They're going to see different species and people from different worlds walk different ways and whatnot. Yeah. And this bleeds into their reprogramming as they learn about a different way of life, I thought that was really cool. Because I remember that scene. It's like watching the other K2S droid, and I'm like, why does he look different? Yep. I remember I've always like thought that, but it's the walk, and I never noticed that, and they purposely did that. And I was just reminded how like, what's the actor? Oh, Cuba Gooding Jr. Is that his name? Is that the name? Cuba Gooding Jr. Does that make sense? Is that the name? I think that's his name. I remember him saying how the first thing that he does when he figures out how to do a character is he creates a walk for that character. Because a person's walk says so much about their personality. And I was like, yeah, like the way people makes walk. Sense. Like you can see someone from like 3 blocks away and not be able to like see them at all, but you can see how they walk, and you're like, oh, that's so-and-so. Like I've done that before. Like I've seen someone 3 blocks away, way down. I'm like, that you can tell that. I could tell that that's whoever it was. Like, interesting. Yeah. And then it was cool how there were scenes where the actor couldn't be in his stilts just for safety reasons, and so they had the backpack with K2SO's head like on some sticks
on the top,
on the backpack. Like, I almost want to like go to a Comic-Con or Star Wars Celebration and have that as my cosplay.
Well, now that I see that, I'm like, dude, I should have done that this weekend. It would have been super easy to do.
Yeah, just like, get a cutout of his head and just put it on some sticks on a black backpack sticking out.
And see if anyone actually recognizes it.
Because I think he had like the triangle suit with all the triangles on it they use for like tracking. Like, so get that shirt, in the backpack with that, and go cosplay as that. Like, that's super cheap. Just buy a shirt, you probably already have a backpack. Yeah. And then you just gotta like get a cutout of his head, and like.
My question is like, would people actually remember that? Like, know that?
People would know because they've seen behind the scenes stuff. So.
Well, this weekend they would have known because this weekend was like a full Star Wars
basically
thing. It was like Star Wars Celebration, like the little version of it, essentially.
It'd be cool to go to Star Wars Celebration while that actor is there, and then like
that would be dope.
Wear that.
I bet you he's there this weekend or in 2 weeks or whatever.
I don't know. Is there a Rogue One panel?
No, but isn't the KTSO going to be in the Andover show?
Oh yeah, in the Andor show, yeah.
Yeah, so I assume he'll be there.
There'll be an
I can look
Andor
on
panel.
Instagram.
I gotta relook at last week. They released the schedule for Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, people were freaking out, but then I didn't see anything on the schedule that like was freak outable on my.
I'd have to go look at it again because I just know there's a Bad Batch season 2 panel and a Visions panel, so that's definitely a trailer for both of those for season 2, each of those. So
you think?
Oh yeah, they're definitely gonna have a trailer. If you have a trailer for a specific show or a panel for a specific show, that's
the season 2.
That's gonna have a season 2. Like they're definitely gonna have a trailer, especially for Bad Batch. Visions might be kind of like more like a, what is it called? A sizzle reel, like where it's kind of
like the last one.
Yeah, kind of like behind the scenes with like just some screenshots of stuff, but I don't know.
Well, at least you guys know that we'll probably do a breakdown episode of that. I don't see him on the guest list.
Oh, I don't know. Is it Turek? Is his last name? Yeah. Turek? I don't know. All right. Well, that was K2SO. Still a pretty cool droid. I can't remember if I had him in my top 5 or not when we did our top 5.
I would hope you did. In my opinion, he's the best.
All right. So next up is Jyn Erso, the lead character in the movie, and played by Felicity Jones. And I feel like she is the one who took her part the most seriously. Because not only just because you had to, but like she wanted to learn about Star Wars so much that she said that like every day she was on Wikipedia reading about Star Wars lore and ideas and history.
She didn't understand that was a thing either. When she got the role, like she didn't really understand like there's so much to Star Wars,
right?
Which I thought was cool.
But like she was like devoted to Star Wars. Like she was like eager and fun about it. She just wanted to like go all in being Star Wars, and I really like. I think she'd had a good mindset with her character. So she kind of reminded me of Forrest Whitaker, like how he had wisdom about Star Wars. She didn't have wisdom because it's kind of like it is new to her in a sense. Yeah. But like she wanted to like have her character was very informed by everything going on in the galaxy when this was happening because she was just wanting to learn. So that was cool. And so like having the lead role in a Star Wars movie, like they said, is the hardest job you'll ever have. And so like she had that as the role. And so, and I was thinking like, so Rey was the lead role in the sequel trilogy, and Felicity Jones was a lead role in Rogue One. And so I guess we can't compare a trilogy to a single movie, so we can just compare
the first one,
episode 7 to Rogue One. But who do you think had a better performance in a single movie as a lead role?
I mean,
Daisy Ridley or Felicity Jones?
Okay, but this is gonna be intense. But you can take all 3 movies and ask the same question, and the answer is still the same. I'm not even gonna say the answer because
just say the answer. We said way more controversial things on this podcast before.
Have we? This is pretty intense.
Just say it.
Felicity.
Yeah, Felicity Jones did a wonderful job.
She's amazing. I wish they would do a spinoff of her.
It'd be so hard because like,
would it though? They could just have her like a little younger, and all the struggles she had to go through before.
But what would the story be though? Like it's just she was just
her not dying in the galaxy.
I don't know.
Like, her interacting with people. We've seen that she interacted with people and not realized it.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think they could come up with like
it would be hard, right?
A villain for her, like, or a antagonist or something, because it just seems like she just went from thing to thing. She just kind of like.
Well, she definitely interacted with the Empire though. Probably.
Oh yeah, because she got arrested by it and she was in prison.
Yeah,
but like
so
she was just like there's like a long list in the movie of what
it
things she
just
did.
sucks because I feel like she would be so good, and I want to see
Like,
more of her as an actor in Star Wars.
It's kind of like she should have been cast as Rey. Like, just think how much more different that role would have been if she was cast. Now, like, they wanted Rey as like a young girl because she was like 20 years old, or not 20 years old. She was 20, so she's younger than me by like a few years. I think 5 years younger than me. So like, she was like early 20s when they filmed that first movie, and then Felicity Jones, she's like upper 30s, I think. So like, obviously they want the character is a young character, so they can't have Felicity Jones.
Well,
but
I mean, but she still didn't seem like she was in her 30. Like, if you ask me which one's younger or this, I would say they're like the same age. Like, I didn't view what's her name any older than Rey, but the chat did make a good point. The writer of Rogue One was a lot better than the writers of those 3 movies. So,
hey, I have no problem with The Force Awakens. I love that movie. So
yeah, I like The Force Awakens.
J.J. Abrams, I think he did a great job for Episode 7. He just got handed a poo-poo platter when he took over for 9. So that's not. I don't put all the blame on J.J. Abrams for Episode 9, but there's a lot of factors that went into Episode 9 problems. But
well,
I don't know. I just Felicity Jones, like I don't even know. I couldn't even name anything she's in outside of Rogue One. Like, I knew of her, but I couldn't tell you anything she was ever in. And so like, I don't know her that well, but just on like how, like I said, like how she wanted to know everything about Star Wars. She's on Wikipedia. Like, it goes. I want someone who's a fan who wants to know this stuff, and it's just not a job. And that definitely.
I feel like you don't think what's her name did the same.
Dude,
though?
Here's the thing. Rey or Daisy Ridley and John Boyega, like, I don't think they care about Star Wars. Like, they didn't know anything. Like, and you see them in interviews, like, they just don't know anything. It's like they never saw Star Wars until they got cast. Like, I don't know. They were definitely not like huge fans beforehand. And
yeah,
I hate when they interview actors in Star Wars films and they don't know anything about Star Wars. Like, I hate that.
Yeah, but do you feel like though, like if they know too much, sometimes it can sway their acting?
Yeah, in a good way.
I think it could also be in a bad way too.
I don't know.
But I mean, there's a lot. We could like spend another episode about what we think they should have done differently. But I think what the chat was saying is like the biggest thing is like they didn't write all 3 movies out.
I know.
It was the dumbest thing ever. It doesn't make any sense. And like even the way like we talked about like last week, like how Rogue One is like they were so adamant, and especially the director was so adamant about making sure that it felt different, but it didn't feel too different. But then he also wanted to make sure it didn't feel like we were watching another New Hope episode. So like he was so particular about all that stuff, and JJ wasn't, which doesn't make any sense to me because like he is a phenomenal writer, phenomenal director, and all the other stuff like what he did with Lost and even what he like as much as like I don't even care about Star Trek, the movies seemed pretty good. Like at least the first couple, like they were pretty good. So it's like it's just the biggest thing, a big takeaway that Timothy Zahn said on his panel. He said that he has a souvenir from Pirates of the Caribbean from episode 3 of the Pirates of the Caribbean in his office, and he looks at it, and everyone's like, and he asked the audience like, why do you have this? And he's like, do you guys know why I have that? And we're like, no. He's like, because I look at that, and when I write, I want to make sure that my first movie or my first book is as good, if not better, than, or my first book is really good, but I want my third book to be as good, if not better, than the first book.
Right.
For a story. And so he looks at this piece because the third what's it called? The third
installment
was awful, and so he looks at it to encourage him to not do that mistake. But the thing is, why didn't they do that with their movies? Like, why didn't they do that with all three? Like, they just like, all right, here's one director, you figure out what you want to do, and like JJ's mindset was like, I'm just gonna focus on this, and I don't care what they do differently. Well, he also didn't really set up Episode 8 that great either, because that was the only Star Wars movie that stopped in a situation where they had to start up again. And I've mentioned that before.
I disagree with that. I think it was a great setup movie because it's so much potential on what they could continue with the story, and so
yeah, I'm just saying, like, it would have been better, and they know that now, which is why certain people are allowed to write Star Wars now, and they have like bigger contracts, and like Dave Filoni with the Mando stuff, and like they're never gonna do this again. It's just like that was their issue.
I doubt that they're gonna do. I can't see them doing a trilogy again, though.
No, true, but I'm just saying if they did, they would never do that again.
Like if
they would pick one person to do the trilogy, and that's it.
I don't know. I think if they do another trilogy, it would be a High Republic trilogy, which, but I don't know. But anyway, we're off topic. We're talking about Jyn.
True. True, but I'm just saying if they did that for the High Republic, they should get one of the writers of the High Republic to write the script for this movie.
Possibly.
Because they know, like, that's what I would do.
But anyway, back to Jyn. One point that they made about Jyn's character was that when you look at a lot of characters in Star Wars, like they come from, like they have a mysterious past where they don't know where they came from.
Yeah.
Like Luke didn't have parents. Leia, like, was adopted. Then you have other characters that like Han Solo, like in his movie, like he didn't have a family because he didn't know what his last name was, type of thing. But Jyn Erso, she knew where she came from. Like the whole movie, like she came from a loving home, like she knew her parents, and I was saying from. So like, it was interesting how her motivation was based on her family that she knew, whereas other characters had no family and kind of had to figure out life on their own. But she was able to tap into her relationship with her father, and that was her motivation to get the plans of the Death Star and send them to the rebellion. So I thought it was an interesting concept.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Jyn. So next up, The Princess and the Governor. So this was them talking about the CGI faces of Tarkin and Princess Leia. So a lot of this stuff I've already seen before because there's been other stuff, like mini documentaries and news segments and stuff on what they did. Just recreating these faces. So obviously they spent more time on Tarkin than they did on Princess Leia. And so, but their big question was, could they do this to the point where it was believable? And so the question is, like, when someone watches it, are they going to realize that it's obviously fake? Like, obviously, if you know Star Wars, you know that's not 20-some-year-old Carrie Fisher, and we know that Tarkin, the actor, is dead. Like, if he was still alive, he'd be like 150 years old. So obviously, if you know Star Wars, you know they're not real, or it's not real. It's CGI. But like, is it still a believable recreation? And so, I would say that Tarkin was believable, whereas Princess Leia was less believable. Because like, I have a coworker who never saw Star Wars, and I made him watch all the Star Wars movies. And so when he saw Rogue One, like, he's not familiar with the characters. Like, he doesn't care. He just did it because I made him. But like, he didn't remember Tarkin from Episode 4. So when he saw Rogue One, I asked him, like, did you realize that was the same character from Episode 4 who's no longer alive? And he didn't know the difference. Like, he didn't realize that was CGI.
So it worked.
So it worked for him. So I think it's believable.
Well, I mean, it worked for my wife when we watched it in theaters. She had no idea.
Interesting.
Like, she literally was like, I was like, you know that person's fake. Actually, it worked for my wife's whole family. I was like, you guys know that person's fake. And they're like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, that's not, that guy's dead. Now, Leia, though.
Yeah.
And they're bragging in this. And I was like, oh, if you guys could only see this now.
Like, it was so funny, like, because when Rogue One came out, that's when deepfakes first started, I think, about. And so after that came out, like, 6 months later when the DVD came out and people had access to, like, the scene, they did deepfakes of that, and it immediately looks way better.
Yeah.
Than...
Well, didn't the guy that they hired do a deepfake of it?
I believe so, yeah. So the guy that Disney hired, who did the work on Boba Fett version of Luke Skywalker. Spoilers. He worked on that deepfake too. So that was that's interesting that one of his first things that he did with deepfakes was Star Wars, and then he got hired by Star Wars to do Princess Leia's brother. So yeah, so it's, if again, I'm gonna say we talk about Corridor Crew all the time with their CGI breakdowns, and so they always talk about faces. So like whenever there's movies where there's facial people like try to make a realistic face, like they always talk about like what's the difficulty, what's the problems, and so they always break that down. So if you want to know more about that, check out Corridor Crew on YouTube. They're great. But it's really hard to recreate a human face because it's the most common thing and most complex thing at the same time that we see every day. So like we know that it's fake if it's not perfect. And so I think Tarkin was 99% perfect, and then Leia was, I don't know, like 85%. Like, it was a little rough, but it got the job done. And like, so the actress that was the body double for Princess Leia, Ingvild Dela, I don't know, it was from like Sweden or something, but that's just a crazy thing that she just had to show up, put the costume on,
and say hope.
Like, and they with dots all over her face. Like, that's pretty crazy. I wonder how much you guys got paid just for that one.
I don't think it was that much.
I wonder, like, yeah, except like that, like, what do they get paid? Do they get paid like $10,000 just for that one thing, or is it like,
bro? After like hearing like these actors this weekend, they don't get paid that much, dude. Like,
I don't know.
So I don't think they probably got paid that much. $10,000. Maybe. I don't know.
I remember. I think Daisy Ridley and John Boyega in The Force Awakens each got paid $400,000. I think.
Yeah.
But Harrison Ford for Episode 7 got paid $25 million.
Yeah.
Which is just crazy as a side character in that movie.
Well, like I was listening to the Friendship Onion podcast, which is the two hobbits from Lord of the Rings, and they were talking about how much they got paid, and they got paid like I think $100,000 per movie
from the original trilogy,
from the Lord of the Rings, yeah. And they were supposed to get royalties from the toys, and they never did. Because apparently the toy company said that they weren't making money. And they're like, what? There's no way. Our faces were on literally everything. And so like they had to go to court, and they fought, and they still didn't even get that much money. Like after the court and stuff, they actually they barely broke even. But it was just like you would think if you saw those guys, you're like, oh, you guys are set for life off of Lord of the Rings. And they're not. And it's really sad.
Keep in mind that that was filmed in like the 2000 or something like that. So $100,000 back then was still more than it would be now.
True. I mean, that's fair, but like you would think, but like you said, like even like Daisley, but I mean they got more in the second.
I think with them it was the base pay was like $400,000, and then after like $1 billion in ticket sales, like they got like royalties after that, something like that. But plus they're doing all those speaking engagements. A lot of those they get paid for.
Well, I mean, to even like Ashley, to get her to sign anything, it was like $100.
Really?
Yeah, dude. And then if you want to pitch, actually all of her stuff, picture, sign, and I think you could just meet her. It was all $100 for all three. And I didn't realize this, and I'm probably an idiot, and maybe you said this before, but did you know her husband's like?
Yes.
Okay. So I didn't. I totally. I think
husband is a former baseball player. I believe he played third base or shortstop for the Angels
and he won 2 World Series, and was an MVP one year, or runner up for MVP.
Now I didn't know that right away. Like when I was a fan of Soka, but like I've known that for quite a while though. Now.
Yeah. So they're living good, to say the least. Because baseball players, they get paid a crap ton.
They're like the best paid athletes because it's all guaranteed contract money. So.
And she was like, "Yeah, now he's just my well, because I saw him and he's like, yeah, now I'm just her backpack boy instead of like a ball boy."
That's any husband carry all their bags.
Yeah, but like he shouldn't, like this boy. And she brings her parents and him to every single thing she does, which is kind of cool too.
Right. But, and then also, the actor for Tarkin, guy named Guy Henry. And here's the thing. He could play
Tarkin.
Tarkin as is with no like makeup or something.
Even
as
his voice, dude, was like spot on.
Like he could be in the Kenobi series and just be himself.
Yeah.
And be cast as Tarkin, and it'd be totally believable because he already looks very similar to. I can't even remember the guy's.
Whoever plays actor.
I should.
Tarkin.
Yeah, I should know that, but I can't remember.
Yeah, he looks really close, and on top of it, his voice sounds exactly the same.
Because his voice acting is recreating that Tarkin's actual voice. So
also, do you think? I mean, is it safe to say that Tarkin's going to be in this Kenobi show?
I don't know, probably not, because he's not at this point. He's just he's not Grand Moff.
He's not a Moff yet.
Because like in Rogue One, he's just a governor, which I believe is a Moff. So from Rogue One to A New Hope, he gets that promotion. So I think when he stole the Death Star, from Krennic and proved its abilities, he got the promotion to Grand Moff from that. So, So if we see him, so he might not even be a Moff during the events of Kenobi or Moff or governor. He still might be lower down in the rank. So like,
well, yeah, but because you said he wasn't even in it in Rogue One, so yeah.
So he might be a slower position than he is in Rogue One.
True. Like
but he still had this important role in the Bad Batch. So like he's still like even at the Bad Batch.
Is he a Moff in the Bad Batch though? Did they say that?
I don't think so. No, because he's because we see him at the end of Revenge of the Sith when Vader and Palpatine are looking at the Death Star being built.
Mm-hmm.
Like he walks up to so he's still the Empire's mind. Like he's still
possible
because like even in Clone Wars, some of those episodes with Tarkin, like he even says in there that he's sought out a friendship with Chancellor Palpatine. Like they saw something in each other. Like they knew something else was going on. So like,
I mean, it's pretty much confirmed that Palp's gonna be in it. So I mean,
Right. But
depends, I guess.
If we see Tarkin in it, that'd be super cool, and it better be Guy Henry. Like,
yeah, I guess I was gonna say it depends on how much they want to spend on effects.
Right.
Do we have a number on how much it costs them to make the Kenobi show, or no?
It's probably $20 million an episode.
Because
that's what a lot of these shows are.
Stranger Things was what,
30 an episode,
which is the amount that they spent on the full first season, right?
I have no idea.
I think Tanner, someone told me that this weekend. Like, the amount that they spent on one episode is the same amount that they spent on the entire season of the first season.
It's crazy because season 1 of The Mandalorian, I think, was $100 million, and that's what, 8 episodes. So that was.
It was $100 million per episode.
No, for the whole series.
Oh,
8 episodes. So, like, whatever. What is that?
12? I think we did it like 12 or 14 mil per
12
episode.
million. So it's definitely going to be at least that. So I'm guessing it's going to be closer to $20 million an episode. But I don't know. Did you see what the episode per episode is for that Lord of the Rings series?
No.
That's the record. $57 million an episode.
And it doesn't even look that great. That's the sad part.
All right.
We'll see. I'll watch it, but.
All right. Well, that's The Princess and the Governor. So lastly is just the U-Wing discussion.
Which is pretty much regurgitated from the other
talked about last week, but this was more detailed about how they came up with the design. So the first thing that they said was they wanted it to have 2 pontoons. So like the 2 things that stick out. Yeah. I guess they called pontoons, like a pontoon boat.
Like a boat.
So they wanted it to be like that, where it's 2 pontoons connected by the rest of the body of the ship. And so they came up with like a million designs for that. They said 781 designs that they had.
Not a million, but 781.
Pretty close if you're rounding. And they really liked the idea of the pontoon sticking out in front and have it kind of look like Superman's arms, which I thought was interesting. Because I'm never gonna not see that when I watch Rogue One or Rebels when it has that ship too a little bit, where it's just Superman flying through. But so I don't know if you want to bring it up, but so it's designing Rogue One galleries Ewing / slideshow. So in there at 2 minutes and 37 seconds, like that's another design that they had. Like, this is my favorite design that they showed. It looks similar, but it looks more like an attack helicopter kind of. Mm-hmm. And like, I was like, man, they should have went with that. This looks more, but it kind of also looks more like by looking at it, I can tell, okay, it kind of doesn't look like Star Wars. It looks like more of a different sci-fi alien ship or something. So it's kind of, I can see why they didn't want to use it. But when I saw that watching this, I was like, I definitely could get on board with that. No pun intended.
But you did.
I did. And they also wanted it to have similarities to an X-Wing. So they basically just took the engines off the X-Wing and put it on the U-Wing. And they kind of just built it around the X-Wing engines, or at least the look of the X-Wing engines. So definitely go watch that. So it's pretty short discussion. Yeah. But
it was like 6 minutes,
or it's less than that. I think it was only like 5 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes. But it's definitely interesting just to see all the different designs that they had and kind of like their philosophies on trying to create a new ship that fit into Star Wars, but was still fresh and new and exciting to look at. And so, yeah. So that is Rogue One special features.
It was a lot. So if you guys want to like go and watch them, go watch it, because it's definitely a lot more than, I don't know.
Right. And it's definitely like got me hyped to watch Rogue One again. So like, that's probably gonna be the next Star Wars movie that I do watch once I have time to watch a movie. I haven't watched a movie in a long time, even though either this weekend or next weekend I'm going to see Doctor Strange. So I'm excited for that because I love Marvel too.
Yeah, I wonder if when I'm gonna see it, or if I'm just gonna wait. But I'll probably
just see it, dude. Just see it. I get to go see it for free. So.
Oh, how? Why?
Because a couple weeks ago, I was on a team at a trivia contest at my church fundraiser.
Oh, cool.
And we tied for first place, and we lost rock, paper, scissors and got second place. But our prize was $50 gift certificate to a movie theater and like free popcorn and stuff. And so my team, we're just going to use that and go see Doctor Strange. Probably next weekend, not this weekend, but we'll see. But that's it. So let's just transition over to everyone's favorite part of the show, voicemail time.
It's voicemail time. Yes, it is.
All right, so we got a lot tonight, like we normally do because of the VCU. But we do have some regular voicemails as well. So we have 4 regular voicemails from Will and 2 from Jericho. And then the rest are from Lucy. And so, like always, we'll start with the regular voicemails and then we will jump into the VCU. So let's hear this first one from Will.
Hey, Empire Radio. Will here. First off, I would like to say I am not going to send in a VCU voicemail today. I'm just gonna see how it plays out. You know, seeing as we're close to the end, I never would have thought, especially with someone I'd have no contact with at all, that we and everybody else involved would be able to create this good of a story. Like, yeah. Wow. If y'all are listening to this, give yourselves a nice pat on the back and maybe a donut.
He said he got donuts in the chat earlier.
Okay. Donuts are always good.
True. I had Krispy Kremes this weekend.
Drew, what's your favorite donut? Like, do you like just like a plain with chocolate frosting? Do you like a?
I like a cake, not cake, like a donut. What's the one that's not cake? Donuts.
The raised donut.
Yeah, I like a raised donut with chocolate. But I do love a hot Krispy Kreme, like when they're right out, they like melt in your mouth.
Yeah. I like a cake donut with chocolate. That's always good. Or a powdered sugar.
I like donut. Cake. I like cake donuts to dip in coffee.
But I like a raspberry jelly filled donut.
Ooh,
but like, I hate when they don't pump it right, and it's like all the way at like the bottom where it's like see through on the bottom, and it's ready to fall out.
All stuck.
So like if it's properly stuffed and it's like you can bite into it, like every bite has it, that's great. And
honestly, the best, like, chocolate is my go-to, but if you ever had Bogart's in Minnesota, the brown butter glazed donut is the best donut I've ever had in my life.
Does an apple fritter count as a donut?
Yeah, I like apple fritters.
Apple fritters are good too.
No, but do they count as a donut? I don't know, but I do like them. Sure. But I like cinnamon rolls. Like, that doesn't count as a donut.
Nah, that's a cinnamon roll.
Sure.
All right.
But apple fritter's a fritter.
True. But they're always in like a donut shop. So
are cinnamon rolls.
I don't know, I feel like you don't really find cinnamon rolls in a donut shop, but you'll find apple.
Well, they have them at Krispy Kremes. They have a cinnamon roll.
Really?
Too. Yeah, they did.
Interesting.
Yeah. But anyways,
right.
yeah.
Right.
Get
so
donuts.
Let's listen to Will's second voicemail.
Going on with my first off, it's Will here. You should know by the tone of my voice. Anyways, going on with this VCU-esque voicemail. We need art, y'all. Yeah. So send it in. What you waiting for? I want to see me taking a bathroom break and then hopping out with a lightsaber. That is a non-negotiable. I want to see that. So, make it happen. And you'll get a nice high five from me.
All right, yep. So we'll talk about this later, but we need those art submissions for the VCU voicemails.
Yeah,
so,
there's someone in the chat right now who wants to get more, like, to know what the characters are wearing more so that they know how to draw them properly and stuff. But
we'll talk about that later, but it's up to you.
Yeah, that's why I responded, like, just do it the way you want to do it.
Whatever you want. Like, we don't
Jericho was saying that she was thinking about making some music to go along with it.
For intro music.
She just wrote that in the chat too, but she said that would be a summer project. And
yeah,
but
this project is not going to be done anytime soon. I was going to say,
isn't it plenty of time? Like next month? So,
but yes, submit your art drawings and paintings and whatever
whatever you want. Just send us stuff, man.
And we'll talk about that later. But yes, there is a scene when Will needs to take a bathroom break and then takes out his lightsaber, like when stormtroopers catch him. So
yeah,
someone has to draw that. Like it just is. It's required to get this project done. You gotta draw Will. So, all right, let's listen to a third message from Will.
Oh wow.
Hello, Empire Radio. Will here. I have a question for this voicemail. Surprise, surprise, it's not a VCU one. Oh. But seeing as an Ahsoka Tano lightsaber is available on Shop Disney tomorrow, I sent that link in toys. No, not toys. I sent it in Tanner's Melee Market. Is that something that interests you? I know Jeremiah, no, probably not, because it'll probably cost like $400. But, Drew, does that interest you at all? It definitely interests me, because Ahsoka.
All right, Drew, did you hear about
lightsaber?
I don't know.
But it's going to the Disney shop, so like for everyone to purchase, it's probably the white ones, I would assume,
Maybe. You can get it?
No.
Someday?
I don't. If it's a Galaxy's Edge one, the white ones are trash, so I would not buy.
Oh,
those.
Dang!
Because they're too thick. Yeah, it's the Rebels. Yeah, don't buy it. Will, I'm telling you, do not buy them. If you haven't been to Galaxy's Edge and you're like, oh, I don't think they're worth it because they're too big and they're too long. They're like.
I have heard that. Yeah.
They're just fat. They don't feel good. Now, her other ones, the Clone Wars sabers, I do want those. I would actually love those. But I did get a new lightsaber this weekend, and I like it a lot. But yeah, so yeah, no, I would not get those ones. But if it's the Clone Wars Ahsoka ones, I do like those, and you can switch those colors between red and blue blue and green, which is cool too. But yeah, not the white ones. I've held them. I looked at them. They just don't. They're not it.
I wonder if they made a Mandalorian version of those, because they're smaller in the Mandalorian than they are in Rebels.
Well, aren't they smaller because they weren't like they just didn't feel well?
Well, they couldn't, right? So like for the live action, they had to make them smaller.
Yeah, so I think that if they redid it and made them smaller, because they're based off of what they looked like from the cartoon,
right?
And I think they're just they're really long, but then they're thick. Like
yeah, like
it's like really
Pringles can.
yeah, it's like why are they so big? It didn't make any sense. So,
but if they made smaller ones like from Mandalorian, like those are more normal saber size. So
yeah, and from what I've seen is why they add certain lightsabers and stuff to the Disney shop is because they have overstock and they're trying to get new sabers because they just added that what's his name saber from the video game
Cal Kestis.
Yeah, Cal Kestis, and which is why Andrew couldn't even go into the trading post part and even look at the lightsabers because it dropped the same day that he went, and there was a line for like 2 hours just to get in to look at all the lightsabers.
Bruh.
He had a really bad experience there. Actually, it's kind of sad, but
that's unfortunate.
So yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, no. So I will not be getting those. But if it's the other ones, I would think about it, but not anytime soon. I spent enough money this last weekend for a while, for a little bit. So,
all right. So let's listen to Will's fourth and final message.
Oh, jeez, Will.
Hello, Empire Video. Will here. This is my last batch of voicemails for this week. So when Andrew and Drew were driving back, I asked what the color of my BB unit was. And seeing as they both knew it, first of all, and second, I am going to Galaxy's Edge again this summer and getting another astromech, this time an R2 unit.
That's why
what color should I get him? And I will try my best to pick that color. So, give me suggestions, please. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Well, I got an R2 unit because I thought I really liked them. And mine is orange and black, like Halloween. It's actually Stephanie's R2 unit, but just sits in my room. They're really cool because if you have one and you have another one in the same room, they start talking to each other, and it's kind of weird, but
kind of scary.
And they do it when they're off, and that's kind of weird.
Scary. It's definitely Disney's watching us right now.
Yep. Hi. No wonder why you shut down our website.
Oh,
put you in a different room. But yeah, so that's a good question. I think the color options are not. They're like purple, orange, red. I don't even think.
But the body is always white.
Yeah, like the base. Here, I'll show you.
Yeah.
I'll show the camera. So the base is white, and then I think actually we bought more accessories for this, but then this you can get it black. But we actually bought this stuff separately, like they're even more expensive, and he has tools that he doesn't have and stuff. But see, what I wanted to do is I wanted to make R5, but Stephanie wouldn't let me. So if I made another one, I would make R5 because you can do like the different helmet because this is a see-through helmet, but you can do like an R5 helmet and just do red, and that's what I would do. But I mean, it's up to you because I think they sell like a smaller version of R5, and maybe they have a bigger one now. But I also changed the base lake to black, which is kind of cool. So,
all right.
but since you like purple, if you don't do an R5, you should do an R unit, not an R2 unit. Do a what is it, R5 unit?
I don't know, dude. I don't
Whatever.
know my droids.
Do that one, and do black and pink. I think that would be cool.
Black and pink.
Yeah, you did purple and gray.
I wish you could do a different body color, like a black one with like blue or black one with gold. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be sick. It's because they just have the base and you can just fill. And like I said, I think they were black, and then Stephanie bought the different doors.
I see.
Separately.
All right, cool.
All right. But you didn't pick a color. Pick one.
I said if you can do black and blue or black and you can't do like blue because that's just like R2D2. Like
yeah, I don't even think blue is an option.
But I don't know. I like dark colors, so go as dark as you can with whatever color you get.
Black and pink would be cool, but I don't think they have like a hot pink. And if they do, you probably have to buy separately. But R5, make it R5. That's what I want.
All right, cool. All right. So now we have 2 questions from Jericho. So let's listen to the first one.
Hey, Empire Radio. It's Jericho popping in with another question. If you could be on any starship in the Star Wars galaxy with their original crews, for example, the Ghost with Hera Kanan and the rest of the crew from Rebels, what would you pick? I would pick either the Ghost or, for my High Republic fans out there, the Vessel, just because their crews make it seem more homey and fun, and I just really like the vibes. Let me know what you think, and may the Force be with you.
Is the Vessel one with the rock in it?
Maybe?
I think so.
Yeah. Definitely don't want to do Starlight Beacon. That's you don't want to be on that one. She mentioned the Ghost in that crew. That's a cool group.
And she wrote in the chat, I'm not using the Anchor app anymore because audio has been weird. It's
like everyone has different.
People have been complaining about the app a lot actually lately.
Yeah, but it's weird though because when Jericho's come in, like when I put it on the like the live stream part we're recording, like it's very staticky, but the file itself is less staticky. So like I have to
so it's just the way it's.
I have to cut out the sound
when you put it on YouTube. It's not like that,
right? So I have to cut it out and then put the actual clip in and make it sound better.
Jericho, you're making Jeremiah do more work.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's okay. We love it. We love the voicemail, but so she did confirm that is the one with the rock. It for me, it's either the Ghost, but honestly, I'm gonna pick the Millennium Falcon with Chewie and Han. And
it's just so dirty though.
Who cares?
I don't like grossness. Like I'm not saying my apartment's the cleanest apartment in the world, but like the Millennium Falcon is compare the Millennium Falcon in the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy to what it looked like in Solo. Like I'll have Solo,
the one that Lando was
doing. Oh yeah, with Lando, Kira, L3, Chewie, and Han. I could do that one, but I think my final answer is the Ghost with that crew.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's a good group of people, a lot of fun. I don't gotta be chased around by bounty hunters or anything like that. So,
bro, the whole what do you mean? The whole time they're trying to survive, every episode's like they could die tomorrow. Like, what are you talking about? It's way more risky than just dodging people. Like, at least if you're with Han and Chewie, you just, all right, what are we gonna steal today, and how are we gonna split it up, and yeah, that's about it. But with the Ghost, it's like, who are we gonna save? I don't know. It's a lot more pressure.
All right,
I think. But I wouldn't mind that one either. But yeah, I feel like for me, I just want the Millennium Falcon, and I'll let Chewie win that game every time, so he doesn't rip my arms off.
All right. So let's listen to Jericho's second voicemail.
Hey Empire Radio, this is Jericho part 2 for the week. So it's actually Teacher Appreciation Week, and I'm just wondering, out of all of your levels of education, from preschool all the way up to college, who was the teacher that impacted your life the most? Mine, ironically enough, is my AP Calc teacher from my senior year of high school. He just made a topic that I never truly understood manageable for me, and he also would geek out about Star Wars with me, and that's where I heard the Palpatine laugh in the Episode 9 trailer for the first time. So, yeah, let me know what you think, and may the Force be with you.
All right. Well, I did know it was a Teacher Appreciation Week, so happy Teacher Appreciation Week to all the teachers listening out there, and future teachers and former teachers and all that jazz. Teachers are the real MVP, as the kids would say. So, Drew,
You go first. I'm trying to remember my teachers' names at this point.
You could say your mom because you're a
No,
homeschool.
that's the worst teacher I've ever had in my life. And
she listens, doesn't she?
I don't care if you're listening, Mom. You know it. All right, so
most influential teacher. Trying to think. Feels like is this different than like favorite teacher? Cause like I don't know how many teachers are like.
That's my question. I'm just gonna do my favorite.
Who is your favorite
I don't
teacher?
even know who was my favorite teacher. It's hard.
Well, during the Bad Batch,
You talked to your teacher.
I talked about my biology teacher, Miss Quinn, from 10th grade, and from the Bad Batch coverage, we talked about cloning and stuff. So like I messaged her and asked her about cloning and whatnot, and
Jericho said it could be your favorite / most important.
Okay, so Miss Quinn was cool. So obviously, since I had to ask her DNA and cloning questions and I had that answer on the podcast, like she's definitely a favorite of mine. Middle school band teacher was pretty cool. Mr. Schleisman. He was just like a awkward, nerdy, weird guy, but he was super cool and fun. Yeah. In college, I had Dr. Mayo for 4 straight semesters. So that was pretty cool because he was my favorite professor. I had him for New Testament history and literature. Then I had him for 2 semesters of biblical Greek, and then Synoptic Gospels, which was my favorite class I ever took in college. And so he was definitely a pretty cool guy. He really taught things in a way that made sense to me, and I was terrified to have Dr. Amy Anderson, so I chose him instead for my classes. So, but he definitely, his way of thinking and approach to teaching really resonated with my way of thinking and learning. So that I'll go with Dr. Mayo for that. Drew.
I liked my band teacher growing up. She was awesome. But I think the one that I would probably say is Mr. Lido. Shout out to you. You actually might be listening, so if you are, shout out to you. But he was my history teacher in high school, and he was pretty cool. And we always watched Andrew Zimmern what's that? Bizarre Foods.
Oh yeah.
We watched that randomly all the time. I don't know why. I literally have no idea. Like we would lure in a country, and then we just watch Andrew eat the food from it.
That's funny.
So I don't know. I liked him a lot, and I like history a lot. So I liked his class the most. And college, I literally don't have a favorite teacher in college. Maybe I would probably say my uncle, just because. Dan Thompson.
Dan Thompson.
He was probably my favorite in college because I remember my first day. He literally told the whole class if anyone messed with me, they're gonna fail. So that was pretty cool. So, but besides
did you pass the class?
I had an A in this class. I was
okay. What?
No, but also it was the same class. I mean, Stephanie were in together. The first one we were in together.
Oh, is that where you met?
No, we met before. We were dating, but that was the first class we actually had together as we were dating. And he would like give me the assignment before time, like at home, because I lived with him at the time too.
Oh god, I forgot about that.
So I lived with him, and I would come upstairs, and he's like, "Hey Andrew, the assignment this week is gonna be this," and then so I could work on it with Stephanie before even, so we were always ahead on that class. So I think that's why he was my
favorite. Didn't she say like since you live together, like he would still just take the bus to school? But you like, I can drive. I'm going to the same place. He's like, no, I'll take the bus.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know why.
He really liked the bus. I remember he
used to talk to people on the bus too and stuff like that.
Right, but
and he would always take the bus to. Yeah, but it was weird. Yeah, like you said, like, dude, I literally am going to your class, and that's it. So I can literally just take you, and then he was like, nope, I might be a little late though, and I'm like, bro, okay, whatever.
That's funny.
So yeah, but yeah, those are probably my two.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Jericho, for the 2 questions tonight. So now we're transitioning to the VCU, the Voicemail Cinematic Universe. So we have a little issue with the VCU tonight. So Lucy is the only one who sent in VCU voicemails this week.
Oh, wow.
Because she suggested that it end for this week. And so Will and Brady were like, we're not screwing this up. Just leave it in Lucy's hands.
That's funny. She didn't know that either.
So she didn't know that. So here's the thing, Lucy. So there's a little issue with what you sent because so we get the emails whenever someone sends a voicemail. And we got 7 emails from you today. But there were only 6 voicemails that actually went through. And so I listened to the first 5 and I realized there was only 1 left. And I listened to the first 5 seconds of the last one that you sent. And I was fairly confident that that was supposed to be number 7 and not number 6. So the 6th voicemail that you sent did not go through. And so we need that sent again, unfortunately, in order for us to listen to voicemail number 7, which I'm not going to play tonight. Okay. So, Lucy, we will be playing 1 through 5. And then if you can resend 6.
Or just resend the last 2.
Or
just to
whatever. Make sure, because I have 7. So I have the final one that you sent. But we at least need to have the 6th one sent again. And then next week, we can play those last 2. So we don't want to play anything that's missing in spoilers and stuff. So I got spoiled by listening to the first 5 seconds of the last one a little bit. But I stopped it. I didn't want to listen to the whole thing. So sorry about that, Lucy. We've had issues.
So it's not ending tonight then?
So it's not ending tonight. We still got more going on.
Wow.
And Brady said in the Discord that maybe 6 months from now he'll release an alternate ending to the VCU or something.
Oh, that's cool.
But
or like Daddy Pops was saying earlier in the chat that maybe he'll add something in there. Maybe because he said it's not done till he says so.
So sorry about that, Lucy. We've had issues recently with people trying to send voicemails and them not going through.
Yeah, something's wrong with. I think it's definitely Anchor's end.
Right.
Because there was that one guy that literally was like, I forgot who it was, and was like messaging us on IG. Which, if you guys do have issues, you guys can message us if you're not in the Discord on Instagram, or even under comment posts on YouTube videos. Like, we'll see those. We don't really like it. We don't really check Facebook as much. But for Instagram, like, I'm on it every day, so I'll make sure. And Jeremiah also sees it as well. So
yeah, so unfortunately, it just didn't go through, and it kind of sucks because I was like excited to have the end of the story,
Star Wars Day,
but it'll just go next week. Hopefully, it'll be all finished up. So sorry about that, Lucy. So just send the 6th voicemail again. But we got the first 5, and it works perfectly fine tonight. So we'll play those. So. last week, where did we leave off with the VCU? Lucy and everybody is on the planet. I believe it was Rentor, and they're fighting in the middle of the battle, and then the battle just stops, and Colonel Doss has Will and some other individuals pinned down on the ground and is showing a blaster. And now, like last week, also Colonel Doss was going back and forth with like whether he wanted to be with the Empire still, or he kind of had a change of heart with the spending time with the rebellion as a mole. And so we thought that he turned good, but then it left it at the end when he was kind of threatening to kill Will and other people. And so the battle stopped. Lucy saw this from a distance, and that's where we left off. So this is now where we're going to pick up. So let's listen to voicemail number 1.
Colonel Doss? What are you doing? Why are you pointing those blasters at these people? What? You only pretended to defect while you worked for Palpatine, but now you actually want to defect? That means before you were lying to us about everything, you were just manipulating me the whole time into betraying the Resistance, and I was just trying to help you. Yes, it still matters. I am still furious with you. Palpatine ordered you to hold Will, Thelius, and this weird Gungan hostage? And he sent Darth Daddy to make sure you did? I mean, the dude just accidentally smacked himself in the face while spinning his lightsaber hilt around, so it doesn't look like he's paying attention to what you're doing. Yes, it's still worrying. We'll put on a good show for him. Follow my lead. Colonel Doss, I can't believe you were a double agent for Palpatine this whole time. You tricked me. Well, you're not going to get away with it. I challenge you to a duel right now. Yes, like the Cad Bane versus Hunter showdown. Let's settle this once and for all.
Ooh. All right, so we gotta read between the lines about what happened. So it seems like Colonel Doss is a good guy, but he is pretending to be a bad guy by following orders from Palpatine. And Lucy is going along with the theatrics and challenging him to a duel like we see in Bad Batch between Hunter and Cad Bane. And so she's kind of now in on the skit in a sense of Colonel Doss trying to be a good guy while also not being killed by Palpatine. So, all right. So this is, remember, the battle stops. So everyone's watching what's going on. So that was voicemail number 1. So let's jump in to voicemail number 2.
Hi, Empire newscasters, or whatever you're called. This is Dakai, and as the Gungans would say, Misa and Big Doo-Doo this time. I have to leave this planet before I get into trouble, but I don't have a ship. Well, I can't just stand around. I'll start walking in the direction that's least likely to make me run into any people. This way. This is weirdly quiet over here. I feel like there should be some sort of noise or creatures or something. Wait, are those rocks or strategically positioned warriors? There's a whole battlefield of soldiers, but they're just holding their weapons, watching something, not shooting or anything. What could be so important to disrupt their battle? In that clearing, it's Lucy! Why does this keep happening to me? But standing across from her, it's some guy reaching for his blaster like a sheriff in a Wild West movie. He's going to shoot her. Sovereignty Radio, this is it. Either act now or let my sister die.
He's gonna kill. Oh no.
So, but he's like, he asks us for help though. He's like, Empire Radio, act now, or Lucy's gonna die. So it's like, what are we supposed to do? We're just
Didn't he say I have to act now? Or
he did, but like he said, Empire Radio, like asked us what to do, intervene.
Oh,
but like also, so it's like, I don't know, I can't do anything. So I guess Dakai is gonna go.
Dakai dies
or something. So
we'll find out.
So he came in from a distance and saw the duel transpiring,
and he thought it was real, which makes sense,
right? And then he sees like soldiers just everywhere watching it. So that's like, I really like that visual.
Yes,
of him just walking and kind of like coming around a corner or something, and then
hint, artists. We like the visual of this scene.
Yes, so it's a very cool scene. And then Lucy added the music at the end, the like swell at the end.
She kills it, bro.
Dude, this is like, it's not just good writing, it's also good directing too. Like the director has to put all that in there too. So, all right, voicemail number 3 from Lucy.
Still Lucy, everyone. Colonel Dawson and I are making this big dramatic act of circling each other with our hands by our blaster holsters. We're just stepping around and around the clearing as our wide-eyed audience watches. But this is getting a bit repetitive, so maybe I should do something exciting like... No! What? Dakai? Hey, yeah. Look, you don't have to do this. We can settle this some other time, but I need to help the resistance right now. Kill me if you have to, but give me an hour to fix this war first. What? No, I'm not gonna kill you. I just saved you from whoever that is. Saved me? Dakai, he's on our side. We're acting while we figure out how to get out of this. But he was gonna shoot you. Like he could have if he wanted to. I don't need anyone to save me, but why did you try? Shouldn't you be glad I could have died? That's not what this is. I've made up my mind. I'm choosing the right thing. I'm choosing to protect you.
Dang. All right. So Dakai shows up to save Lucy, and she's not in danger because they're just acting. But it's the thought that counts.
I was hoping that he would have killed that guy.
Oh, that was so rough.
Oh
gosh, that could have been a good plot twist, but
yeah, Lucy definitely doesn't play D&D with me because you guys don't know I kill off anyone if I could.
Oh no! All right, spoiler alert. So we all know not to play.
Watch your back.
But yes. So, and then Lucy's very confident out there that like she could take down anyone, and she's like, the whole war is on her shoulders. Like, I need an hour to fix this war. Like,
I know.
But like, I also wonder.
I mean, she's a goat, but come on, an hour. Come on, girl.
But here's the thing. I was thinking, how is she recording this voice message in the middle of a battlefield when she's doing a duel? Like, she's just like,
don't judge her.
I'm just saying, it was just funny. I was like listening to this the first time, and I was like,
oh yeah. I mean, when I just heard too, I'm like, she's like on her phone. I'm circling around.
Well, it doesn't matter.
She just keeps this on record. She just has a button like
she has a
lapel mic or whatever,
or has a ear. What is it? I don't even know because I don't use that crap. Like a Bluetooth thing.
And
so
she has inner ears and she just taps it and talks to us.
All right, cool. So Dakai intervened to save her life, and so it's all marked down. So now let's listen to voicemail number 4.
I'm choosing to protect you, sis. I can't do anything that would ever make me hurt you. More than I already have. And I am so sorry, Lucy. You were right. You've always been right. I have been an idiot and a terrible brother. I'm going to give everything I have to try and make this up to you somehow and help you however I can, even if it's the last thing I do. Really? So I know I keep saying this, but you're not going to try to kill me? Absolutely not. Though I can definitely kill anyone who tries to hurt you. All right, tone down the protectiveness. I got this far on my own. I don't need some guy hero to rescue me. But I am really happy you made this choice. I knew you'd see reason eventually. A part of me wasn't sure I'd ever get to hug my big brother again. Then let's make sure you get that chance right now. Dakai the Hugger, you're full of surprises, and it's so good to have you back.
Man, we're getting a little teary-eyed over here. Holy smokes.
Also, Jericho made a good point that she is a Mandalorian, so maybe she has a Mandalorian helmet on.
Yeah, like, people have been wondering, asking about the drawing stuff, like what to draw. Like, we don't know if Lucy has Mandalorian armor. We don't know what she looks like.
Never seen her in real life.
Yeah, so we don't know what Lucy
just
looks
draw
like.
what you want, but just know that she is a Mandalorian and she's a rebel.
So she may or may not
have a helmet. That's really up to you to decide.
Right. So
unless Lucy listens to this and next week sends a voicemail and describes herself, but we already have art of her. So, but yes. I mean, Lucy, if you want, you could do that. Just be like, you can make yourself look like whatever you want. Just tell us.
She could be an alien too. Like, you don't have to be human.
True, that's fair. Yeah.
She could be a Hutt. We don't know, a Hutt Mandalorian.
Ooh, what if she's Chewbacca? Like she's a Wookiee.
A Wookiee Mandalorian.
That'd be cool, dude.
You have the armor on, but hair is sticking out.
Hair is just like coming out from every angle. It doesn't really matter. That'd be cool. All white Wookiee. Oh,
ooh.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, so Lucy and Takai have embraced their relationship, and now I really like Lucy's like, I don't need a man to save me. I've made it my whole life on my own. So strong. We like him strong. Independent woman is Lucy in the voicemail cinematic universe. So, all right. So let's listen to the final one tonight. Voicemail number 5, and let's see how this plays out.
It's so good to have you back, and I'm here to stay. Oh, and for the past few weeks, I've been sending voicemails to this podcast called Empire Commentators or something. You're kidding. You've been sending voicemails to Empire Radio? Oh, Empire Radio. So that's what they're called. Just imagine, there might be someone out there who listens to the podcast and puts all our voicemails together in a story. Wouldn't that be wizard? That's crazy. What next? People start sending in cover art of us standing back to back or something? It's possible. Okay, I realize now we've blown our cover and Darth Daddy is menacingly stalking towards us. Get behind me, sis. No, you get behind me. I got this. Tiebreaker, let's stand back to back. Hey, that Gungan just ignited a lightsaber. We can't take on both of them. Oh, yes we can. We'll get over here and make use of that lightsaber. You too, Colonel Dawson Thalius. We can beat these guys. Together.
All right.
They're going all in.
So they're... So we said that we had a art submission where Takai and Lucy stood back to back, and she fit that in there perfectly. So we have
we know where that picture is going.
We know where that picture is going. And so it's Lucy, Takai, Colonel Doss, Will, and Thalius, which is a character I'm not familiar with, but I'm guessing it's a Thrawn Easter egg character. So there's that. And then, so they're being surrounded by Darth Daddy is there, and the Sith Gungan is there. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting because the Sith Gungan is not with Darth Daddy, but both want to kill the rebellion or the resistance. So that's where we're going to have to leave off tonight because we don't...
Oh, that's it?
That's it.
Well, that is a cliffhanger, Jericho. You're right. Oh,
and so we're in the middle of the conflict.
Oh my gosh, it's like middle of a battle scene. Also, yeah, that person is from the Thrawn book.
Okay, so I wish the other voicemail came in so we could finish the story tonight, but we can't. It's going to be an intense 1 minute of fighting, I assume.
Well, and people could add now that they heard it.
Huh?
People could add in.
Oh, they could, but
this now.
I'm saying let Lucy finish this story as is.
Well, I think it add more fight stuff without anyone dying.
But then I haven't listened to that final message, so I don't know if it's open ended for more to happen because technically because also remember Boss Nass challenged Emperor Palpatine to a duel on Naboo because that's where the Rebel base is, and so we know that the entire Imperial Armada is on their way to Naboo during this. So maybe this war out in the outer or the unknown regions will come to a conclusion.
Yep.
But there's still the story of Palpatine and Boss Nass that needs to be a conclusion. So now, unless in those last 2 voicemails from Lucy that all got tied up in those 2 voicemails, I don't know. Probably I'm doubting it, but I'm sure Lucy will finish this story in the unknown regions, and then we'll see if there needs to be more after that from Brady and his characters that he has. So
yeah,
this was the best cliffhanger so far.
Yeah, that was pretty intense
and very great. The music was great. The visuals was great. And I can't wait to see art submissions for this week's episodes.
Yep.
Voicemails, I should say. And so that's all we have for the voicemails tonight. So
wow.
And so we'll probably have at least one more week, but we're coming to the end. And we definitely need to be done with this story for sure before Obi-Wan, because
correct,
we're not going to have time in those episodes to do an hour of voicemails of VCU stuff.
But we still want your voicemails during those.
Yes.
And I think it's pretty much confirmed that they're Wednesdays for the Kenobi show. So
okay.
They won't be episodes on Tuesdays. They'll get moved to Wednesdays, just so you guys know.
All right. Cool.
For the Kenobi.
Cool. All right. So since we just talked about the voicemails, and we might as well jump into the art submission again. So, and there's an update on this too that some people do know about, but is an important update. So people have been requesting information on where they can like easily hear these voicemails again or whatever, because they don't want to like listen to a whole episode or whatever. So what I have been working on, which I hope to complete tomorrow, is a Google Docs of a table with every single voicemail where it's episode number, the sender, and then a brief description of that voicemail.
Wow, dude, you're going all out.
So that way, and then we'll post that somehow for everyone to look at. So what will happen is it'll just be readable only. You can see all the voicemails that have been submitted for the VCU, and then you can pick them and say, okay, I want to illustrate this, this, and this. And then once you send them to me, then I can mark them off on that list that this has been a submitted photo or drawing or whatever. And that way we get images for everything. So I feel like now we know almost everyone's going to send in an image about Will using the bathroom. Like we're going to get 1,000 of those. So at least this way, it will just, once it's done, and we won't need any more, and people will know which ones to send. And also, if you want to like go back and listen to the voicemails to like, get the full details, because I just give a couple like bullet points of like this happened, but not a lot of details. So you'll be able to go back and find them. I'm gonna try. Some people have requested timestamps. I'll just do like a timestamp of like where the VCU section starts in that episode, and not for every single voicemail, but just where that starts, and you can go back and listen to then. So I hope to have that list done tomorrow, because I have to add these ones, and then I didn't finish doing last week's on that list. But so with tonight's 5, that will bring us up to 72.
What the heck?
VCU voicemails that need illustrations. And so we have a lot. And so it's a lot of work.
Jeez.
And this project might not be done for 2 months, 3 months, who knows, however long it takes. It'll be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of work on my end, because I'm trying to figure out the best way to, make it work. But yes. And so if you want to submit your pictures, images, or whatever, if you're in the Discord, you can just send them to me directly. You can, but also if you're not in Discord, EmpireRadioFans@gmail.com is our fan email, and you can submit things that way as well. Make sure you send us an actual picture file, like on like someone before like the opening logo posted it on their Instagram, and so we couldn't steal that unless we screenshot it, but we messaged him and he sent us a file for that too. So make sure
did they send it on Instagram too, or did they actually do
they just posted an image in messages on Instagram?
Yeah, which you could do that too if you actually give us the copy of the image.
Right. So
if you want to do Instagram.
Yeah. And so that's definitely doable too. But yes, we just need a file, and preferably something in the 1920 by 1080 dimensions would be ideal, just because that's the dimensions of a video on YouTube. And so that'd be better. If not, that's fine. If it's whatever you use to draw, maybe you can't do that dimension specifically, but I'll make it work either way. But that way it's just easier just for consistency and whatnot. So we need a lot of images, and then some of these voicemails, they could take 2 or 3 images themselves because different things happen so quickly. So definitely be cool to see all the different styles. Like you could do a comic book style, you could just do an image, you could do a Lego setup, you could do painting, you could do whatever. Like we don't care. We just want your interpretation of the scenes and characters and what they look like, and we will definitely use them.
Yep.
So just to finish with the socials, links.co/Empire Radio, links with 2 I's. It's a landing page for everything for Instagram, Facebook, Discord, YouTube, other podcast links, and then also the needlesslynerdy.com website, which we are part of, which is starting to grow. And we have some new members in that as well. And so we've already had some interaction with that. And so we're excited for that network growing, because more people join that, the more fans we get and the more suggestions that we can have for our fans to go look at too. So
yep,
definitely check that out. And
I think the biggest thing is if you guys don't go to our YouTube, you're going to miss out a lot of stuff from ICCC, including the live podcast that we did. We did a live audience podcast with a live people there, and it was a short 15-minute podcast with me, Andrew, and actually Tanner, your boy Tantan, came out too. So if you guys want to go watch that, just go over there, hit that thumbs up button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, go subscribe, because there's a lot more stuff from ICCC Con this weekend, and a lot of fun vlogs, and also some panels from Palpatine himself, Daddy Palp, or actually not Daddy Palps,
Daddy
Palps. Just Palps. There's some Palps content that is going to be out on there, and then there's also some Anthony Daniels panels that will be on there as well. So yeah, you're not going to want to miss that. And it was, like I said, we had a blast this weekend, and so you'll see it on the
cool
YouTube. So go check it out.
Yep, I'm definitely excited to see that as well. And so always look on YouTube, because there's, like you said, there's the vlog stuff, but then Drew also posts like toy hunt videos, and
I also do toy hunt / life vlogs on YouTube as well. So
which I should do too, but I have a boring life, so there's not much to show.
But also the reactions are on there too. So if you want to go,
that is true too. Yeah.
So.
All right, cool. Anything else, Drew?
No, that's it.
All right, well, happy Star Wars Day.
Yes.
May the 4th be with you.
Go watch Star Wars right now.
Yeah.
Or listen to this. This is actually Star Wars for you too. So
yes.
Thanks for spending the best holiday of the year with us a little bit. We appreciate it. So
yes. Oh, isn't it also Micaiah's birthday?
It is. Shout out to Micaiah. Happy birthday.
Andrew's wife her birthday is today. Happy birthday, Micaiah. All right. Well, anyway, you've been listening to another Rogue-tastic episode of Empire Radio. I'm Jeremiah.
I'm Drew.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.
The Needlessly Nerdy Podcast Network, your source for all things nerdy.
www.needlesslynerdy.com.